as somebody who loves setting intentions and being very intentional about what I'm doing, how I'm living, where I'm going, I don't love New Year's resolutions. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I think I'm in very good company. I think there's many of us who just feel like it is not the right fit for us at this point. And I wanted just to offer some other ways to think about it because I do believe in goal setting. I do believe in setting, I guess resolutions might be the word that I'm not like in love with. It's just more like intentions. And, you can make plans. And as long as your plans are malleable and flexible, then they tend to serve you better in that way. So I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because we're coming up to 2026. There's a lot of like, at least in my feed, there's a lot of rebranding and how you're going to show up in the world. How are you going to show up in the world as the new you and the new vibe for 2026. And I don't want to rebrand. Honestly, I'm tired of trying to think about the projects, the creative pursuits of my heart in a way that is strictly with marketing. And I think that a lot of people feel that way. There's a lot of rebranding out there, like rebrand yourself and repackage yourself like we are on a shelf somewhere and some kind of product. And as much as I love being an entrepreneur, I love being self-employed, I find marketing very interesting and it's very valuable. You need it if you have a business you care about and you want people to know about it. That's just part of it. I'm not interested in rebranding myself anymore, at least. I am not interested in presenting myself as some kind of product, especially in our world right now. We are inundated with all kinds of presentations and packages and curated offerings and all of these things. And so much hold tremendous value. It's not a knock on that. It's just where I'm at. And I think where a lot of people are at is we just want to really be in our human selves. We want to experience ourselves as human beings more than anything, especially with the rise of AI. It's like, how can I ground more into my humanness, my humanity, as opposed to how can I appeal to some kind of algorithm that's arbitrarily set or some kind of, it's usually the algorithm. I think the algorithm has really done us dirty. But I wanted to offer this up because I do, even though I'm not like a big New Year's resolution person, I am very big on setting intentions in some kind of cyclical nature. So the start of the calendar year, the new start of our calendar year is part of it, but it's not the end all be all. Like it's a piece of it. It's a marker. And I think that when you get into your intention setting and when you get into your goals and you really get in touch with your heart and you really listen to what it's calling for and how it wants to love you and love everyone around you, you find yourself having a multifaceted kind of approach to intention setting. I'll say for me, I really like setting intentions with the seasons. That is what feels the most natural to me. It kind of just happened sort of by accident in that way. Like there was not a day where I went, okay, I'm going to today start to set intentions by seasons. It just became easier for me to keep track of what intentions I had set, how I had done with those intentions. Did I achieve or did I acquire or did I meet the goals that I was trying to set? Did I meet myself there in that time? So when I use the seasons and really like the equinoxes and the solstices is kind of like how I measure that. So we are nature. We are part of the earth. We are part of nature. That's just the way it is. And the more you feel disconnected from it, the more you're going to feel disconnected from yourself. And I have found that when I work with the seasons in that way, it's helped me not only feel connected to myself, but feel connected to the earth in a way that is hard to put into words. It's really something that when you do it, you will receive all of that love and benefit, and it might be hard to also put into words after that. But there is a peace and a knowing and a loving guide that comes along with you when you start working with the earth. And you guys know I talk about going into nature all the time. And one of the reasons I think it's important to get out into nature in all seasons is because it helps you stay connected. And it's winter. We actually haven't had any real snow. We had like one snow in Colorado so far. But in general, usually it's very cold and it's hard to get outside. And it doesn't mean I'm outside all the time, all winter. But, there will be times where I make sure I spend enough time outside that being inside feels amazing because I've been outside for so long, and that's kind of usually my marker of like, all right, I did it. I got outside long enough to make sure I am really, really grateful for having the heating and the walls and being indoors. But, doing that, whatever season it is, really helps you connect back to the land, to the earth, to the wind, to the trees, to the clouds and the sun. Like we need all of that. It's all part of you, and it just makes your life better. It makes your nervous system happier. It's just who we are. It's just who we are. It's really that simple. It's not like it's some hack or, mind blowing. I mean, I think it's mind blowing, but it's not some like hidden technique or whatever. Just being outside and spending time in nature and connecting will blossom your life in ways that is hard to put into words. And I just invite you to try it. Let's say if that was your New Year's resolution, just to be outside more. I think that would be a good one, right? But really, I like working with the seasons. I used to focus more on the moon cycles, but truth be told, sometimes a month passes really quickly and it's like not quite the right amount of time for the incubation I need for whatever I'm working on. Sometimes having the actual season gives me enough time to really bring something to fruition, to really kind of plan out whatever it is I'm working on, and to give myself enough space and enough room to actually be gentle with myself and my nervous system and get it there. And then if I want to continue to break it down, I'll go for like the moon cycles. That might be for something a little smaller. So for instance, when I'm setting a goal, whether it's like starting a podcast or doing an EP or, working on something in martial arts or learning something new that I want to, putting some kind of course together or material together that I want to offer in the herbalism world, I'm going to give myself that time. And like I said, usually I'll give myself a season to do it. It gives me enough time to figure out how I'm going to go about it, plan that out, actually be able to kind of trial and error as well. So I may do something and then realize like I didn't like how I did that. It gives me enough time to edit those things. It gives me enough time to just take my time. This is something I did not do at all in my younger years and I'm learning how to do. But in terms of taking my time, intention setting's been there for a long time. But, so whether it's the seasons or whether it's doing it monthly, having some kind of rhythm that you can be a little bit more in contact with besides just the year, right? I think the year is one of those layers. It's one of the layers that gets in there that kind of goes like, okay, this is the overarching theme, let's say. I just spoke to my friend Sally. It'll be out next week from here, and she does something really, really beautiful. One of her courses is doing a word of the year. So that's like a theme for the entire year. And I think that is really wonderful and a way to have like an umbrella over it. And then you can work more in the details by breaking things down to the seasons or breaking things down to the months. The moon cycles is what I mean when I say the months. So whether you want to be on the cycle of the new moon or the full moon. If you do both, you're going to be doing something every 2 weeks, kind of touch and base as well, which also might be where you're at. And that this is your practice. This is your path. This is how you show up. And I am just offering another way to look at it because I just think it is a very practical way to go about actually real world achieving, and real world practical application of bringing things into reality that we care about and doing it in a way that also works with this world that we're a part of. So when we say calling of the heart or like follow your bliss and all of these beautiful sentiments that are true, sometimes for me, I feel that they're not necessarily grounded in the practical approach of how to actually do those things. And this is one of those ways that you can marry the intention, woo kind of energy side of things with the practical real world side of things and actually bring yourself to a place where you are able to, and I say achieve, not to be super achievement heavy, but to get to the place you're trying to get to. I have talked a lot about being on a sailboat and that kind of being a metaphor for our goals in life and life in general, right? You're on a sailboat, you set a course. You have to adjust that course as you go. You're not just going to take a straight line to your destination, your goal. You're most likely going to have to navigate around some things. And so breaking that time period down will allow you to navigate those things with a lot more intention, a lot more presence, a lot more clarity. And yeah, I just wanted to pass this along because I think that it's been one of the biggest tools for me to be able to take the real, heady kind of spiritual energy that I'm feeling called to and compelled to do a podcast or to share something, right? To share something from my heart and actually ground it into this paradigm, right? To ground it into real world practicality. And that benefits everybody then, right? That benefits me, it benefits the person listening, it benefits us all. And if you have a gift to share, if you have a story to share, if you have your heart to share, it also matters how we go about doing those things. And intention setting, goal setting, planning, all of those things, as long as you remain flexible and open to things moving, so as you're headed towards that goal, things may shift and change. Allow those things to shift and change and look for the next clue and the next insight, wisdoms that you have of what to do to work with that course and to just like change course a little bit, but to still stay on your destination. So your destination is going to be pretty much the same, but the way you get there might be a little bit different throughout the year. When we only give ourselves a whole year and one, resolution, it really all we're doing is setting that resolution for the next month usually, because by the time the end of the month happens, it's hard to even check in. So along with this episode, there are 5 questions that I offer for you for reflection anytime you need to use it, anytime you are reflecting on a cycle. I used to use these questions mostly for my own lady cycle. I actually would do them with tarot cards, so you can do it that way too and use it as a prompt, but really you don't need anything but you. So this is, it just kind of depends. Sometimes I use affirmation cards or tarot cards to kind of help get things moving in my intuition, in my psyche. That ADHD meme where it's like, the person who's activated when you say a few words and they like remember things. That's very much how I am. So a lot of times I may just be in a space where I'm not totally sure, how and what I feel about X, Y, and Z. And I might pull a few cards and then I suddenly am like having all the clarity that I didn't have a moment ago, but all the, my brain's firing and my intuition's firing. And so you don't have to use those. I know not everyone, tarot cards can be a little spicy sometimes. So I don't always recommend it for everybody. Using oracle cards in general also is a nice way to work with this. And a lot of times I'm just kind of adding this in here because if you do that, right? If you use tarot or you use oracle cards, one of the things that I always suggest when you are pulling cards is that if you're feeling a strong feeling like, no, that's not, that card's not for me in a way, right? So you pull a bunch and you're answering these questions and it's kind of like when you don't know what decision you want to make and you flip a coin and the moment you flip it, you instantly know what decision you want to make. It kind of can act like that too sometimes. That being said, sometimes it can just be calling you out and you're like, no, but maybe it's a yes. So the reflections go deep. This is, again, why my podcast is called Thought Experiment Called Life, is because there are many ways to think about things, to know ourselves, to get to know ourselves more. And so these questions have served me really, really well, whether or not you want to use them with oracle cards or tarot cards, or if you just want to journal. So what I'd recommend first is just writing a free write. So free write really is you set a timer for 10 minutes, get your notebook, get your journal, write. Just keep writing. It doesn't matter if you're writing complete nonsense. It doesn't matter. You just want to keep writing. You don't want to stop. So you can be like, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm doing this. This is stupid. And then just write whatever else comes out. Literally just keep writing and let that just kind of dump out for about 10 minutes or so. If you only have 5 minutes, that's fine too. So you'll be kind of just loosening up, your energy and your insights by doing that. So start there. And then I will put the questions in the Substack. And it is, how have I grown this past cycle? So whatever cycle you want to look at. And again, I think there's value to setting intention yearly, but I think that when you start breaking it up smaller and smaller, you get more presence with what your intentions are. It's a little bit easier to actually bring those things into fruition. So how have I grown this past cycle? What parts of me have I been ignoring? It's a big one. What am I ready to release? I feel like we're always releasing, right? Releasing something. I think we kind of are. What behaviors will support me, or what habits will support me during this next cycle? Really get honest with yourself. Where can you show up for yourself more during this next cycle? And then what is my overall focus during this next cycle? And so when you allow yourself that time to just reflect and write those things down and ponder about them and be in connection with them and speaking from your heart, speak to your heart and let your heart speak to you. you will find something really cool. I don't know exactly what it'll be. It's going to be individual for everybody, but especially if you are feeling conflicted about, this new year starting, every year everyone's like, this year should be nice to me or whatever, be kind and blah blah. And there's tons of memes and everything, and I just invite you just to know yourself more, just to get to know yourself more. And this is one way. This is one way that is just really about you and your heart and you and your humanity and getting to know yourself. And then you can, of course, take these into more, specific. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to make sure this happens, like actual practical things. Like I'm putting out an EP personally. So I have some time management planning to do for that, and like need to get pictures done by this time and make sure the songs are done by this time and blah, blah, blah. So you have that layer as well, but all of that becomes a lot more refined when you take the time to just reflect on your own cycle that happens to perfectly align with nature. So I hope that this rang true for you. I would love to hear how you do your own cycles, how you show up for your own reflections. What kind of rhythm do you like? Is it something pretty similar where you like to do it with the seasons, moon cycles, your own personal cycle if you're a lady? There's many different ways and they may shift and change. And I think that that is one of my biggest things to pass along is to just allow yourself to shift and change and to just sort of like your taste buds change, your practices change, but as long as you're showing up with them with intention and with your heart, then you can't go wrong. It's an honoring of yourself and of the magical earth that we live on as well. So if you're getting something out of this, it would be wonderful if you shared it with somebody. My intention of my heart is to share these things, is to share the stories, the interviews, the heart callings that I have. These are the things that have helped me. I really was helped so much by others who shared their story, and it's my intention to pass that forward. So if you want to share it with somebody, liking, subscribing, commenting, all of those things really, really help tremendously. It's kind of crazy how much it helps. So thank you to everybody who has been doing that already. It means the world. I love hearing that this is resonating. I love hearing that this is helping. It is my deepest, sincerest intention. So I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your holiday week. Whenever you're listening to this, if it's later, then hope you're having a great week at all times. But let's be super kind and gentle to ourselves as we start this new year. And let's just get to know ourselves a little bit deeper and a little better.